Hi, my name is Agnes Gambill, and I'm Assistant Professor and Head of Scholarly Communication at Appalachian State University in Western North Carolina. I'd like to thank the Library Publishing Forum for the opportunity to present to you at this conference and look forward to the next time we can meet together in person. Today, I'm going to be taking you on a virtual tour of an exciting new scholarly publishing program that was started at Appalachian State University in March 2020, right as the pandemic was unfolding. Creating an open access journal publishing program within our university library, of course, has been met with some unforeseen challenges and opportunities. Not only did we have to collaborate with a group of national and international partners to build the products and services virtually, but we had to do so on a strained budget. Today, I'm going to share with you our success story and the key steps in how you can replicate this program at your own university. Our open access journal program is unique because we were approached by the executive director for the Center for Analytics Research and Education at Appalachian to create two high-quality, peer-reviewed open data journals, a new concept with which we were not familiar. The goal of the first data journal is to publish research, data standards, and data sets that further one or more of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. For example, we have an article currently under peer review that tackles questions related to food waste on campus. The author of this article tracked data through the food recovery processes on his campus to determine how much physical weight was being diverted to landfills. His article and research data helps answer questions such as, how can food waste be minimized throughout the school year? And how can the university forecast future food production in the dining halls? The author's contribution addresses 3 UN Sustainable Development Goals: zero hunger, responsible consumption and production, and climate action. The goal of the second data journal is to publish research and data standards that are related to honeybees and to create a bee XML library so that beekeepers worldwide can better communicate and understand their research using the journal's internationally accepted and community written standards. Because honeybee populations are critical to pollinating food crops worldwide, research published by the Bee XML journal supports development goals such as sustainable food production and environmental sustainability, both of which are long-term strategic goals of Appalachian State University. An article we've recently received for this journal looks at the strength of honeybee hives and calculating outputs related to pollination effectiveness. Throughout the journey of building these open data journals, the library and faculty at Appalachian work collaboratively with other universities, international nonprofits, and the world's largest privately held software business. We met often, and meetings were and still are conducted by Zoom. For those of you who are not familiar with data journals, Data in Brief is a good place to start to get an idea of what a data journal and data articles look like. In short, a data journal consists of data articles that describe why, how, and when a data set was collected. Data articles are usually shorter than traditional scholarly articles, and there is a standardized format to the way the article is written. Articles, for example, include specification tables, data dictionaries, and XML code. Datasets are also attached as supplementary materials and peer-reviewed. As a result, open data journals are an important contribution to the open science movement and open data sharing practices. Starting the open data journals at Appalachian consisted of a few key components, which I've outlined here. We've done the hard work, meaning that the 6 areas we've identified are the ones that you should be focusing on instead of getting lost in unnecessary rabbit holes. We'll talk about organizational structure, project timeline, costs, data storage options, legal considerations, and the PubPub platform. Please keep in mind that the product and services that the library built were based on the needs of our project team. Always be sure to communicate often to assess any changes in the project team's needs. Organizational structure is important for 3 reasons. 1, it helps you visualize the relationships you need to establish to create a credible journal and build a viable ecosystem. 2, the organizational structure helps you to visualize workflows and any gaps that need to be filled. 3, this structure helps communicate work assignments to various stakeholders involved in the journal production process. As you can see, scholarly communication serves as a vital role to this process and is a touch point for all levels of the organizational structure, especially during the early phases of the journal launch period. The journal manager works closely with the editor-in-chief and handles the day-to-day management of the journal. Because finding a journal manager takes time and resources, your scholarly communication team will need to be prepared to serve as interim manager until this role is filled. It is very important to communicate that you will only be providing support on a transitional basis until the journal finds a journal manager. This will make the scope of your commitments clear from the outset. Assistant editors will help peer reviewers navigate the peer review process and assist with proofreading. It is important to advise editors to select an editorial board with a significant number of contacts for prospective peer reviewers and authors. Creating a project timeline is an absolute must. A project timeline forces your team to identify milestones and objectives that need to be implemented before the journal can be launched. More importantly, the project timeline keeps your team focused on achieving milestones and staying on track. In our case, we gave ourselves 12 months to launch, which built in extra time for unanticipated events or delays. We also had to select a publishing platform and find a data warehouse to store any data submitted to our journals. We added both of these key milestones to our timeline. We also wanted to apply for grants to financially support our data journals, and so we had to align our grant writing timeline with various outside funding cycles and deadlines. Finally, we conducted 3 friends and family test rounds of the peer review process to train the editorial board and conduct a beta test of our dataset and article submission system on the journal website. Through this process, we were able to write useful documentation notes that we have published on our journal website. You will also need to build in time to train others how to use your selected publishing platform. Thankfully, the costs associated with starting an open access data journal are quite minimal. We got started with under $1,000 in costs. Having said that, costs may vary depending on the needs of your particular project team. The main costs that we incurred included a Crossref membership so that we could assign DOIs to articles, and the fees associated with ISSN registrations. Fees for Amazon Web Services storage was another cost factor to consider for the creation of an XML library and the implementation of a local Dataverse instance, although this was eventually scrapped when the University of Arkansas, one of our project partners, offered data storage space on their Teradata platform for free. Journal partnerships are valuable not only because of the diverse contribution of viewpoints involved, but also because of the availability of resource sharing. Other expenses you should consider include labor costs for consultants, journal managers, and any outreach and training fees. A good way to identify and cover your costs is to apply for grants. We applied for 3 different grants and were awarded 1. The grant writing process forces you to think strategically about your budget and estimate how much it will cost to achieve your goals. For example, we applied for funding to support our labor costs, including student workers in the library. Because data articles are accompanied by data sets of different sizes, we needed a data warehouse that was large enough to store the journal's data. Because of the journal's mission to be open access and to foster open data sharing, we also wanted a platform that was interactive and that allowed members of our ecosystem to play with the data with analytics software. Our view was that the more people interacting with the data, the more our data ecosystem would flourish. While we ultimately chose Arkansas's Teradata platform, we did consider Dataverse as an option. Dataverse is an open source research data repository software that has a global presence and allows researchers to share, preserve, cite, explore, and analyze research data. However, our reasons for choosing Arkansas's Teradata platform came down to price, technical support, and interactivity of the platform. For example, Teradata not only provides data storage, but supports advanced analytics within the platform. Another reason why we did not select Dataverse is because hosting a local Dataverse instance at Appalachian created constraints in terms of technical implementation, long-term maintenance, and the university's legal liability regarding data inflows and data management. Some of the major legal considerations we encountered had to do with international data transfers and data storage. Given the complexity of international data laws and the fines associated with noncompliance, our university did not want to take on the additional liability. Also, we did not have the requisite staff at Appalachian to vet incoming data sets for ownership verification and the potential transfer of personal data. Although every data set submitted to our journal would have been peer-reviewed by the editorial board and others, our general counsel was not willing to take on the risk without an independent university counsel reviewing each incoming data set. This meant a significant time delay for each new submission that the journal received. Fortunately, the University of Arkansas had the expertise, prior experience, and resources to handle the incoming journal data. For this reason, it is important that you determine the risk tolerance of your general counsel before making decisions on where to store data or investing in a data warehouse. Also, clearing any data transfer issues prior to accepting any data submissions is also advised. Other legal matters that we handled included adding legal liability disclosures to our website and drafting open access publishing agreements. You may want to consider adding journal policies depending on your mission and goals. Our journal editors wanted to make sure that authors give attribution acknowledgments when sharing and using data and commit to using and contributing data for a benevolent purpose that is in alignment with UN development goals. You might also consider adding other policies dealing with open access, privacy, plagiarism, and text recycling. Finally, selecting a publishing platform is one of the most important considerations you'll make as the platform serves as the face of your journal. We selected PubPub over other journal publishing platforms because of its sleek design, accessibility, searchability, and built-in functionality that supports a wide array of media content. For example, our journal editors are currently interested in embedding video clips and interactive data and analytics widgets within the body of the data articles to increase user engagement. The PubPub community is also growing, and they have a very responsive team that fields development questions. The novel functionality of the PubPub platform has helped our journal communities reimagine the scholarly publishing landscape. PubPub offers a competitive pricing model, and by participating in the Community Publishing for Libraries program, we were able to secure free access and technical support to the PubPub platform for 1 year. The 6 components we discussed today should provide you with an efficient roadmap to launching an open data journal at your university or department. Replicating this process over and over will eventually evolve into a fully fledged open publishing program. Thank you for your time today, and take a look at our newly published open journals.